Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Our video for today is about President BBM's visit to the Asian Society Business Forum in New York. This is part 3.
In your speech before, you also made positive reference to the Quad and AUKUS, and that follows, I think, from the logic you've just explained about those beyond the Philippines on whom you can rely for security policy support. Your reflections on how the Quad, for example, aids to strategic stability in the region, that would be of interest, I'm sure, to this audience. And within that, your view and vision of your future relationship with Japan.
Well, the Quad certainly is another one of those agrupations that we feel are going to be, it's a partnership between countries that I think, again, if we were to move as one country alone, it would not be as effective as if we approach the problem as part of these political, diplomatic agrupations, even military agrupations that we have put together. So that's again something that is fundamental to the way we try to approach the problems that we are facing vis-a-vis the maritime disputes that we have. I have to remind people that these maritime disputes are not only with China. We also have within ASEAN some disputes with our other member countries. So, but in my view, this applies as well. So these kinds of partnerships, I think, are very, very important. Now, Japan, certainly, I had a meeting with the Prime Minister Kishida, just the other day, and naturally, I think it's no surprise to anyone that they are terribly, terribly concerned, not only of China. But because of the recent events, we have focused on the Taiwan situation, the visit of the United States House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan, sort of highlighted once again the simmering tensions that, as I said, were beneath the surface, but now have surfaced out into the open. But if you remember, if we go back maybe 6 months, it was North Korea that we were all very worried about. And it is exactly that, that I think that aspect of it that Japan is also worried about, because when you have missiles flying over in your skies and into the sea, it's not very surprising that Japan will be alarmed. And again, that is part of the relationship that we have between ally countries. Japan is an ally. Japan is a friend and a partner in many, many ways again. And that again, we feel that we should strengthen that and continue to promote that partnership. The difference between right now, anyway, between the conflicts or the disagreements between China and the rest of the countries around the area and Korea has threatened to use nuclear weapons. And that would be a complete disaster. And that there is no way that the Philippines will be somehow exempt from that sort of conflict. And it's very interesting to watch what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. And it's very worrisome, because if there is a possibility that nuclear weapons suddenly become, even tactical nuclear weapons, not strategic nuclear, but tactical nuclear weapons become part of that equation, then we will see the normalization of nuclear weapons nuclear weapons will become conventional weapons. And perhaps that will encourage other nuclear powers to exercise that nuclear option, which, as we all know, is going to be is really end of world scenario. So, to take the point a little further, we are beyond the Cold War. I do not subscribe to the spheres of influence like we had during the Cold War. So we see that nuclear weapons should not be. We should abandon the idea of nuclear weapons as deterrence. And really work towards bringing down the stockpiles of nuclear weapons in the world, and with, of course, the ideal result of them being taken away and us not having, no one having any nuclear weapons. Now, that's easier said than done. That's easier said than done because each country that has nuclear weapons have a different view on the subject and feel that they must have it because they have enemies that they feel that need to be deterred. So that is, I think, where we go, if we take it as far, that's as far as we can take the analysis of the conflict. It's something that it is something that we pray for, but the way towards that end certainly is not clear, as there are so many varied and different views on the subject vis-a-vis the individual situations of those countries that do have nuclear stockpiles. So this is the thinking that we have developed, and this is the thinking that we have tried to espouse to our friends and neighbors.
Your comments just now about the legitimization of the use of tactical nuclear weapons, I think, are extraordinarily important. The more of us in the international community who are serving political leaders like yourself who make that clear to our friends in Moscow, the better. We cross that threshold, we're into a world of different pain. Domestic politics, 60% of the vote in your election. Pretty impressive. The best I ever did was 53. So you're obviously a better campaigner than me, my friend. So, but on domestic politics, and I always head in this direction with all of our guests. Had the Chinese Foreign Minister here yesterday. Under President Duterte, there were concerns raised about human rights in the Philippines, and particularly in his drugs campaign. Some questions today about legal actions against your Nobel laureate, Maria Ressa. And then even the State Department report, annual report, refers to several hundred continued political prisoners. So your reflections, I noticed what you said before about unifying all Filipinos. Could you give us your reflections on the future of human rights in the Philippines?
Well, the argument, or rather the discussion about human rights in the Philippines in the past few years has really derived from the anti-drug war that President Duterte undertook. And as I come into office, you look and you see we cannot stop the drug war. The problem continues to exist. What we can do is to examine and learn lessons from the experience from the past administration. And to go into a little more detail, I think we have found, it is certainly my view, that enforcement, which has been the part of the drug war that has been most vigorously pursued by President Duterte, only gets you so far. And my approach is slightly different. And we look at the drug problem in the Philippines, and it is a significant one. There are approximately, I suppose, according to official statistics, close to 4.5 million actual addicts in the Philippines, and that the corrosive effect of on society, on criminality, on the drug syndicates, etc. Even the politicization of the whole drug syndicates and their networks is something that we still have to deal with. And so perhaps we should look at it, we should look, instead of just enforcement, which will continue, but in a more focused way. I tell when I first came to my first command conference with our policemen, and I said, we will adjust. Let us adjust our focus, and let us also look at prevention. Let us education to our young people to say that this is a dead end. This will get you absolutely nowhere.
In behalf of my partners Ed, Wina and the rest of the Splat Communications and Simplified Strategic Solutions team, thank you. Till next time. Stay safe. Bye.